we are going to see banks that the government is in bed with, and they're going to want to bail them out. And more money printing like that means assets like crypto get money pumped into. Turning our attention to the boring thing, I want to get this out of the way because these things are mattering less and less
because no one cares.
No one cares.
No one cares.
Especially in crypto, anyway. I should
Right.
qualify that. In crypto, nobody cares. Yeah, we had the Jerome Powell FOMC meeting today. They did what the market pretty much had priced in already, and we're predicting the 25-point rate hike, which, you know, like I said, whoopee. We already saw the market slightly pump off of the news. As always, though, the devil is in the details. It's not just about what the number was. It's what Powell kind of said afterwards and what's in their more expanded statement, which I do think there are some intriguing things are. We know what's going to happen here. More small banks are going to go under, you know, with the continued tightening of these rates. Bigger banks are going to get bailed out. This is what the government does. More money is going to be printed, and crypto is going to greatly benefit. That's just kind of the recipe that we've had the last few years. This country, you know, the United States, I should say, doesn't know how to operate without just spending money like a drunken sailor. So that's what we're going to continue to see happening. Just to finish off on this, and I want to go to you, Ewok. Basically, Powell said in his statement, they actually removed this quote from the statement. They've been saying this in every single one of these meetings, but they removed the quote ongoing rate hikes from the post-game press conference, whatever you want to call it. So they weren't acknowledging that they were necessarily continuing to do rate hikes. Also, Powell said a decision on the pause was not made today. So, of course, he's not going to say, yeah, we're going to pause at the June 14th meeting. He's not going to come out and say that. But it seems as though we may be on the precipice of that. I mean, we're already very close to them pausing and maybe pivoting. Again, we've got almost 6 weeks until the next meeting. So what do you make of this today? How much does it really mean to you short and long term in crypto and on a macro level too, like just looking at kind of legacy finance and some of the other markets?
One of the interesting things that he said that you didn't touch on, well, you kind of did, but was the consolidation. He mentioned when he was, did you watch it at all?
I saw some clippings. Now I didn't really watch him too much.
So he said, I forget how many years ago it was when he started in government things, that there were over 15,000 banks or 30,000 banks or something like that. They're down to 14,000. So banks have been consolidating for years and years, and they're still doing it. You know, one of the things is that when you have more banks out there, the smaller community banks, things like that, they can't control it. You know, they can't. Again, it's the government that needs that control of what's going on. That's kind of what the Federal Reserve does. So they do these things to put them under, so that the bigger banks buy them. They get more centralized, and they have more control over what's going on. So, you know, don't be surprised in 5 or 10 years to see, again, half of that number of banks actually existing, or at least being owned by another company, you know, a bigger company. They may keep the smaller name, but still be owned by somebody else. That's one of the things I found fascinating. But I could see one more. I could really see one more. He didn't seem sold that the rates, the things that are happening now are pretty much based on what they did in, I don't know, December, January, maybe January, February. So I could still see another 25-point rate hike before a pause. Just my opinion. Who knows, how things will play out. But yeah, I mean, another interesting thing was he said how strong that the job market still is. Basically, what he didn't say was we're trying to kill it, but
it's not dying.
But it's not dying. Job markets are still strong, and I think it's going to take a little bit longer for that reason.
HexPassiveIncome.com. My friend Crypto Coffee has created what I think is probably the best course for a new cryptocurrency investor. Not only that, But these courses usually charge an arm and a leg. Crypto Coffee is only charging $200. I think right now he actually has a discount for $150. I have a link below in the description. If you are new to crypto, do not understand Hex and how it works, click the link below. It's a quick, easy course. He only gives you the basics. I personally, myself, have thought about creating an intro to crypto course in the past. I don't think there's any reason to do so because Matt, Crypto Coffee, has already taken care of that. And I don't think anything needs to be added by anybody else. So check it out. The link is in the description and sign up to Hex Passive Income today. Yeah, it's an interesting kind of conundrum, and what you just illustrated is exactly what we talked about a couple of weeks ago. If anybody remembers the episode from a few weeks ago, so yeah, June 14 is the next FOMC meeting. I remember specifically saying that by the July one, which I should pull the schedule back up, but I believe there is another one in July, and we both speculated about them like definitively pivoting by then. So, or at least they would have paused by then anyway. So yeah, that would be in line with what you just said. Maybe we could see one more 25-point hike in June and then a pause after that. Yeah, I would be really, really surprised if after June we were seeing any more hikes after that. I mean, there was already so much drama, the last time around in May, and even the meeting before that when we saw these quote unquote crypto banks going down. When we started to actually see banks going down, that was when everybody was like, all right, you got to stop doing this stuff. They've still raised interest rates since then. But yeah, there's just no more real wiggle room here. They're going to have to stop. I think we'll probably see more fallout of that through like major news with banks and the banking crises here in the next few weeks. We'll probably see more and more things like that. Just kind of the nature of things. But yeah, I'm with you, Ewok. I'm not going to say right now I think they will definitely do a rate hike the next time around. And I know what you mean. Like Powell always is going to hem-haw and play both sides of the fence a bit. It's kind of like the responsible, not that he is, but the responsible father figure, say, well, you don't want to go too far. So he's never going to admit that they're not going to raise interest rates anymore. So he's going to give himself that wiggle room. That said, yeah, I could see them doing one more. How do you think this affects the crypto market? Because at this point, like you said, it doesn't seem like it's going to at all. It's kind of just made up its mind that we're going where we're going. And if anything, I guess, we have this, maybe I just do, but people had this bias that how do these macro things affect the crypto market in a negative way because of how bad 2022 was. Well, now I think we probably need to shift that prism a little bit and see how it could affect them in a positive way. Because again, we are going to see banks that the government is in bed with, and they're going to want to bail them out. And more money printing like that means assets like crypto get money pumped into it. So what do you think about that? And how do you think that could really shape us up, I guess, for the rest of this year anyway?
Well, we hope that that's where the money flows anyway into the crypto markets. I guess it really depends on which banks and which assets happen to falter, to really depend on where that money goes. The interest rates are still pretty high. So, back when it was 0%, there was a lot of free money out there that could just go anywhere into these markets. I don't think the crypto market is the first choice for a lot of people.
Right.
So I still think it's going to be quite a choppy year. Ups and downs, bull flags, bear flags. I don't see it getting a nice run until late, maybe October, November, especially if they pause in June. I think that's about the delay. You could see a final capitulation then, and then have it to kind of take off, because we will see a final capitulation down somewhere before it goes. It usually does that anyway. So yeah, it could be a boring 5, 6, 7 months here. I think, just a bunch of choppiness.